Okay, so good evening, guys. Welcome back. We will continue with our day two session. So today is day two session and DevOps and AWS day two session. And today the date is 9th of your October 2025 and the timing is evening. I mean, I'm talking about the India timing only. So 7:04 p.m. IST. So in my guys, I'm at Japan now. So at Japan, it is now uh, 10:34 p.m. So night 10:34 now. So in India, it is 7 o'clock now, 7:04 p.m. Okay, fine. So guys, in our day one session, let us quickly recap what we did. So we started with the introduction about what is a DevOps. And DevOps is a process or it's a way, right? As I said, right? It's to achieve the development of your application deployment into the environment. Finally, make sure that application up and running. So, and finally, we monitor the application. So this is all about is a DevOps, right? And we understood like what is a significant use of the DevOps, right? Why we have a DevOps as a team in the organization, right? And what are the best practices we follow actually, and why we have a DevOps. As I said, right, DevOps is something which will make things very faster. It means that when you adopt the DevOps culture or DevOps process, you will make sure that actually the end requirement of the client or the product which you are releasing to the market will be very much faster. So because why it is faster? Because you're using some automated tools, some automation tools or some DevOps tools you'll be using at your work. So that actually that will make you to achieve the automation and you'll be able to release the product faster to the market. That is the idea behind having a DevOps, right? And also like as I said, DevOps is a process actually. But again, in many of the organization, DevOps is like is integrated, or I can say that it works under your agile process actually. So agile is one process where most of the companies they follow that kind of a standard, or they follow some kind of process where they can seamlessly they can achieve their requirements right in with the given time, and they do everything with the help of the agile process. So agile process is actually integrated with the DevOps also. So many of the organizations, when you join, right, you will see that you will be working under the agile, but you will be doing all the operations, whatever you want to do under the DevOps, but it will be under your agile process, right? So agile, again, it's a different topic altogether, guys. I will be trying to take you at least one or two sessions on agile so that I'll explain the whole process, right? How agile works, how the agile came into the picture, and what is the significance of having an agile process in the organization, right? And even in the team also, in the team or in a project, right, we follow the agile methodology. So all those things I'm going to discuss so that we will have a complete understanding about the agile process. The same thing you have to explain in your interview time also. Like when they ask you what process you follow, how do you work on a day-to-day activity, all such things you have to explain with the agile process only. Right. But DevOps, DevOps, you have to tell it, but you have to tell according to the agile process. Okay. So that and all I'll be discussing, guys. So those things I'll be discussing in another 3-4 sessions. After that, I will be discussing about agile process. Now, so DevOps we understood, and one other thing what we try to started with is a key feature of the DevOps actually. So one of the key feature is CI/CD pipeline, which we already discussed. Like CI means continuous integration, CD means continuous delivery and continuous deployment. So this is something we had discussed in our last session, right? So I think I had completed there itself. So I need to continue with few more key features of the DevOps. What are the other key features are available? So right. So let's see. Let us continue from there only. Key features of DevOps. So the first what we discussed on that day, guys, it was into CI/CD, right? And today's class, what we're going to do, apart from this CI/CD, guys, there is one more important thing which we come across is an IAC, infrastructure as a code. Infrastructure as a code, very important. Most of us knows the importance of this infrastructure as a code. So guys, so usually what happens, right, whenever in an organization when you're working, like you need some kind of a resources, right? You need some kind of resource. It could be in hardware resource or software resource, anything it could be. Say for example, you have built an application. Suppose I'm building a Java application. I want to take this Java application and install into some machine. So basically what happened, that you need a machine. So you need a machine actually. So you need a machine. So that machine has some configuration, hardware configurations, right? Like for example, it has so much number of CPU, so much more amount of RAM memory, or hard disk, or right. Many of the other features are there where or the machine or the virtual machine possesses. Now, when you want to have that machine, what you do that you go to the market, literally buy a physical server, and then like later you want to add on virtualization, you add it, you try to create a virtual machine, and on top of that virtual machine, you try to take it. So based on your application requirement, what happened that you will choose a particular machine with a configuration, and you will go and install some software stack onto the virtual machine. Finally, you go and you are deploy your application. This is what we do normally, like whenever we have. So the thing is that actually you are managing your hardware, your own hardware by yourself. It means that whenever you need any virtual machines, you have your own hardware. From that hardware, you try to create a virtual machine, and from that virtual machine, what you are doing that you are trying to install some software or installing operating system software, and finally installing your application which you have built, which you have developed, and you will try to, once you deploy, install it, you will make the application up and running, and you will do some basic testing activity to verify whether your application is working fine or not. This is what we do it actually, right? But in the real organization, in the real time, when we come across with such resources where we need huge number of resources, right? You need a lot of resources, guys, to be created. So manual creation of so many resources is a very painful task. Manual way of creating the servers, or I can say the resources, I can say, is tedious task. It's a tedious task. So tedious task means what happened, right? You need to, suppose you say that, okay, for example, if you say that, Rajesh, I want to create, guys, don't worry now. I'm just telling your friend now. I'm just telling you certain other things. Like, for example, in DevOps tool, there is one more important tool what we come across is a Kubernetes actually. We have a Kubernetes. And when you say that I want to create a Kubernetes cluster, so suppose for example, I want to set up a cluster in AWS account, assume that in AWS account, and I will give that Kubernetes cluster name something like Rajesh, something, Rajesh one cluster, something. This is what the Kubernetes cluster we want to create in AWS, and we call it as a EKS cluster there, Elastic Kubernetes Service. So suppose I want to create this cluster, so what you have to do that you need to do a lot of setup actually. Few of the setup steps you have to do. You need to even create roles actually, right? Even you have to understand like how many number of nodes is required, right? You need to even set up some kind of a networking. So many of the steps are involved to set up your cluster actually. So you're doing all these things manually. Right. So, but tomorrow you say that Rajesh, I want the same Kubernetes cluster, but I want with another, I want to create one more cluster with some other name. Something I want to create something Ravi 1 or Ravi 2 as a new EKS cluster. So it means that whatever you have put the manual effort in doing all these things, guys, for setting with the Kubernetes cluster, same thing even you have to do for the second cluster also, Ravi 2. Same thing for third server, third cluster, fourth cluster. So it's a tedious task. You cannot do the same thing again manually, everything. So what they say that we have some concept as infrastructure as a code. Is there a way where we can manage all the hardware, can say hardware or resource requirement or resources using the code actually, using the code. So it means that if there any way where we can set up all the things using the code means we will adapt some kind of a coding where what happened by with the help of that coding we can able to easily manage, create, create that hardware resource. Whenever we don't need, we destroy it, we can destroy it or we can delete that resource. Or whenever you want to modify certain things, you can modify. So you can do a lot of changes with the help of a code itself. So why don't we create an infrastructure with the help of a code only? And that is what we call it as an infrastructure as a code. So because of this, what happened, guys? Many of the company they started working on to design a tool where, with the help of the tool, you can able to build or you can able to create an infrastructure. Right? It could be in on-premises or on-premises means it could be in your data center, local data center, or it could be in AWS account, or it could be in any other private account, private cloud account. Wherever you want, you can create a resource actually, but with help of a code only. And that code, we call it as an infrastructure as a code actually. So Krishna, is my voice is very down? Guys, my voice is very down. Krishna said that your voice is too low.
Yes, Rajesh. Yeah, little bit.
How come, sir, now?
I think now fine.
Okay. 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 Yeah, thanks for letting me know that because no, please inform me so that even I'll be aware. So guys, is now is the voice is clear now? Okay. Okay. Thank you. So guys, so we manage everything with the help of a code. So we need to write some kind of a code to manage the infrastructure. And that is what we call it as infrastructure as a code. So there are tools are available. There are IAC tools. Like for example, very popular tool which we come across is the Terraform. Okay, and afterwards, a lot of people have started asking Pulumi. That is one of the other tool, very sophisticated tool, but it is quite interesting to learn and to work on this tool. Right in AWS cloud, it provides one service we call the cloud formation templating. Many of the organization anywhere, I mean, if you try for a job in India, anywhere, even when I was trying the job in India, right, like 1 month back or some time back, right, I used to get calls and they used to ask me like how well you are in cloud formation templating. Okay. Apart from this, like in Azure cloud, we have an ARM templates and we have something as a biceps, right? Similarly, the GCP, you have a GCP manager. So using that, you can create infrastructure. So there are some services where the cloud itself will provide so that you can create whatever the resource you want to use, whatever the resource which you want to create in the cloud, they provide on service only. Like cloud formation is a templating. Cloud formation template is one of the service. Using that, you can create infrastructure in AWS cloud only. Like it could be a network, it could be a virtual machine, it could be storage, or it could be cluster. Anything you want to create, you can create with the cloud formation templates. Similarly with the Azure, similarly with your GCP, like that. Even in your on-premises also, you can create a Kubernetes, you can create a resource with the help of a Terraform. Terraform will also support for on-premises also. On-premises is something like where you are managing or you are maintaining your own data center or you are managing your own hardware. That we call as an on-premises actually. Right. Even like, for example, many of the organizations, right? Like when I was working at Lumen Technology, so Lumen itself has a data center actually in three to four places in US actually. Like one among was the Omaha, Denver place. So they had their own big data centers. So whenever I want to go and create my resources, everything, whatever I need through Terraform, can I create it through my data center? What I have? Yes, you can do it actually because your Terraform supports even on premises also it supports. It also supports in any of the cloud providers actually. So we are going to learn, guys, in a very good way about the Terraform because Terraform is something which is most widely used across most organizations and even today also like Terraform has a lot of market. That's the reason what happened in any, if you go to any job, they will ask you Terraform left and right. It means that they're going to ask you very in detail about the Terraform knowledge and also they'll ask you like how many number of years you have worked on Terraform, what kind of a projects you have worked on it. Right. So now the thing is that guys, how things works actually, just I want to tell you in a very high level. Say for example, like you say that Rajesh, I want to create an EKS cluster. Okay, we'll come across the same thing. So for that, you need to provide some inputs. Like for example, I want to provide the input like a region, in which region you are creating. I want to create like how many nodes I need. I want to create like what is the size of the node, right? And also like I want to give the information about the storage and networking. These are certain inputs you have to give it actually for your Terraform to create the EKS cluster. So what we do basically, like, we will go and we will try to just we'll use all these things. We'll write a script for that. I'm just telling you script, but it is something else. Okay, I'll tell you later, but it's something like a script I will call. So through a Terraform, what happen? If I have a Terraform, what I will do that, guys, I will directly call that script actually. I'll call that script. And that script, with the execution of that script, it will create the infrastructure. Whatever the infra you require, right? For your EKS cluster to be created, right? What is the region, how number of nodes, size, storage, network, all your requirement, whatever you can give an input into a script and call that script through a Terraform, and that Terraform will try to create an infra for you. It will create a complete end-to-end infra. Right. Suppose assume that you, while choosing it, you might have given some three nodes at the very beginning. So that Rajesh, I want only three nodes. Three means three worker nodes. I'm saying, okay, three worker nodes I need. I need this much of size and this much of storage and this much of networking. All kind of inputs will be given so that it will create appropriately. So you need to even write some Terraform code. So that Terraform code will use the script and it will try to create an infrastructure for you. Now the thing is that actually why we are using Terraform, because what happened, right? Here you are giving a nodes as three. Suppose tomorrow you say, Rajesh, I want to increase two more nodes into the existing cluster. EKX cluster is already up and running. It has three nodes, which is running with the three nodes, three worker nodes. Now you feel like, okay, now man, now I have more requirement. I have to increase the number of nodes. So then like, what happened? Right? You need to give an input instead of three, you have to give five. So now what happened, right? Whatever the inputs you are giving, that inputs you will be giving through a code, actually through a Terraform code, and you are giving to the Terraform. So as soon as a Terraform sees that, okay, now earlier user has created the resources with this configuration. Now he's saying that he want to increase from 3 to 5. Okay, let me add on. So that thing, what happened, right? Your Terraform, you easily it can handle it actually. If so, it means that what I'm trying to do that post creation of your resources, if you want to do some more modification, suppose you want to increase the the resources or decrease the resources, whatever you want to do, or ultimately you want to modify it, that also we supported. So, but guys, now that's what the thing is that when you're doing everything is manually, it is very difficult to manage and maintain everything through manually. Suppose tomorrow they say that, okay, Rajesh, now you have 3 nodes in a cluster. Tomorrow, please add on 2 more nodes in that same cluster, right? So it's not that simple, guys. It's not that really simple, right? It needs a lot of effort in adding those or modifying that resources what you need for your new requirement now, right? All those things are very tedious tasks. You cannot do everything manually. Manually and all now most of the companies have stopped it. They are not making everything manually. They are making everything as an automated fashion. That too, they are using Terraform code only. Am I clear, sir? So as I said earlier, right, like that's what when you need instead of 3, I want 4 now or 5 nodes now. 2 more you're adding. So the 2 more also will be accommodated as soon as you modify the script and give that input to a Terraform. Terraform will understand. Okay, earlier he asked for 2, now he is asking for 3. It means that he need 3 additional nodes actually. So it will try to add it. It will try to configure everything and like you can make use of it. So now the thing is that actually, guys, I think this is what I want to cover. But anyhow, we have a separate dedicated topic on Terraform. I will I will not promise you now at this time, but I will see if I am able to take Pulumi or not. So Pulumi, some few sessions I will take so that you will be aware of what is this Pulumi tool and how it works, everything, and how we can make use of it. It's not that difficult to learn it. It's quite simple also. Simple only. Okay. So we'll see, guys, how if I have a time, I will cover it or else I'll leave it as it is. Okay. But anyway, this is not part of our course or syllabus. I've not added this into it. Okay. Fine. Now, apart from this Terraform infrastructure as a code, which we widely use at Terraform only, as I said. But apart from the Terraform, guys, there is one more tool which is available in the market is Ansible. Okay. So basically, Ansible tool is used for the configuration management. For example, after installation or after post installing your application, right, you want to do some configuration changes or you want to do some changes to your requirement, then you will use this Ansible tool. Ansible tool is very famous, guys. Ansible tool, it's also used for both the requirement. It is used as a configuration management. It can even create infra. It can even create Ansible. Can even create the infrastructure also. But the point is that Ansible, when it was designed or it came to the market, it was best suited only for configuration management. Later, so many other features were added so that Ansible also started creating infrastructure. So now the question comes, right? As I said earlier, right, in the previous session also, like DevOps is a culture where we will follow some best practices to be used in our at our work. It means that whatever the tools available, which are the best tools which is required for my project requirement, only I will choose those tools. So one among that tool is an Ansible actually. But Ansible is something where it's not purely meant for infrastructure created. It is more towards inclined towards configuration management. Mean that once you install, once you do it, what are the other configuration you can do? You can do the changes to an existing thing. So that is what we call as a configuration management, and Ansible is one such tool actually. Am I clear, sir? Okay. So Ansible, guys, in our course, we have an Ansible topic also, but I think in my introductory session or before that, whatever I took, right, I already told that I will be giving this Ansible as a pre-recording. It means that already I have a recording. I'll give it. Here and there, some few topics are missing, advanced topics, which I will cover it separately. I will call you all so that you can attend that class and you can learn that other additional aspects separately. But the other videos, whatever I have read, from very basic to advanced, I'm going to share all those videos to you. Okay, when the time comes, right, guys, at that time I will upload everything in the drive so that you can download it. Am I clear, sir? Okay. So we will be learning Some more details about what is the difference between Terraform and Ansible. If Terraform is already there, why the Ansible come into the picture? Or else if Ansible is already there's a tool, then why we need a Terraform? So many differences are there between these two. We will discuss in some a day, not now exactly. Okay. Now if I start getting into more, it will deviate our topic actually. Okay. So guys, okay, fine. So apart from the Ansible, Terraform and Ansible, there is something which you will come across. We call it as an or containerization. Containerization. So containerization is quite important topic which we have to learn it in our course actually, because we have a tool by name Docker. So Docker is a containerization technology tool. It is a containerization technology tool. Many are there. Rocket is there. ROCKT. Rocket is there. Docker is there, right? And in AWS we have ECS. In Azure we have ACS. Azure Container Service. ECS means, you know, what is a full form of ECS means? I even have forgotten. Elastic Container Service actually, right? So these are the services which are there, but the actual container which you can create is through Docker and even through Rocket also, right? Even there is a one more is the Podman. Even that through the Podman also you can create the containers. Okay. Now what is this containers all about, or what is this fourth one, which is we call the containerization? So guys, like for example, I'm just telling you. Okay, I'll take an example. How I can say? Yeah, for example, I have an application. It's a Java-based application. I've used the Java language to write that code actually. Now what happened, guys? When I write a code for my application, which I've chosen the Java as an application, I choose it and I try to build the application. After building, what happened? You need to do the complete build process, or you need to do a compilation. So what we do that we use some tool as a Maven tool to build it. So basically, what we do that we use a command mvn package. Don't worry about all these things, guys. We'll cover it. So if I say mvn package, what you do that it is going to give you one jar file, something, the abc.jar file. So, right. So this is the kind of an output or the application output which you got. It means that after creating the application, you need to do many of the processes, build, trigger and all. After the finally you get a output which you call the abc.jar. So this is an executable file, Java executable file. Now, how you are going to run this application? Suppose somebody gives you abc.jar file. So what happened, right? You will take that file and you just run a command in your command line java-jar space abc.jar. You have to execute this command java-jar space abc.jar. So if you run this command in your Windows, particular Windows I'm talking about, then what happened, right? Your Java application will be up and running, and it will be available actually, right? The application will keep running. This is all fine. Okay, good. So far, so good. But what happens? Suddenly one day you find one your friend comes, and what you'll say that, hey man, I need that application, man. So what you do? No problem, man. I'll copy this ibc.jar. And what are the other things you require in a system? You will say that, sir, I need this is setup, this is installation I have to do, all these things I have to do. Finally, after that only you can take this abc.jar and you can run it. Like that, you will say your precondition. So precondition is something like you will say that, sir, or else he will ask me, sir, what are the precondition? I'll say that it should be Linux machine, man. Okay, it should have all the software stack what is required. Software stack means I need to install Maven, I need to install Java. Those are a prerequisite which should be there. So assume that you will install all the software stack, right? And also like what are the dependency and libraries you need, right? That and all you will install it, all those things. And finally, what happened, right? You want to do some operations. You need to have some commands also. So all settings if you have in your system, what happens automatically when you take a abc.jar file and you try to copy into a friend's machine, since he's having all the requirement, what is required for this program to run, then what automatically that application will be running here in this new environment. You got it? Now the thing is that, guys, now the question comes that suppose that your friend says, no, I'm not aware of this environment, or I don't know. Yeah, I want my application to run in my system, but I don't know whatever you're saying. I cannot even fulfill all those requirements. Install this, install that, and all. Your friends will give compulsion to you. He will force you that I won't take your application like this. Because I can't run this application in my system or in my local. So how you are going to give or how you are going to deliver that application to your end customer? He he doesn't want all these things. He want only a simple way or simple approach where you can take that application, run in your run in the client machine. So what you're going to do? So it is always best, guys, that you cannot follow this practice like this. This is a very old method, old technique of doing all these things, right? So what is there means, or okay, Rajesh, what are the prerequisites? You will say that Rajesh, I need an operating system, particularly Linux I need. Okay. You will say that Rajesh, after Linux, there has to be Java installed. Okay. There has to be Linux should be there. I will try to create a Linux machine. So I want to have a Linux machine. Plus some of the commands you want to execute to verify it, everything, right? So these are all the prerequisites. This is what we call it as an environment, guys. What we call this as an environment. It means that Rajesh, to run this application, I need this environment, you will say like this. Right. So hence what happened, guys? Yeah. Once again, somebody has put a question. Okay. So now what has happened means, guys, you if you want to make that application running that abc.jar, right, to any of the persons, not only your friend, you take that to any part of the world. If you want to share that application to anyone, he should be able to run that application or should be able to access it. So that's the reason what happened, right? You came across with something known as a package actually. So what you will do that you will take a package, you build a package, and what happened in that inside the package you will have something. Linux will be there, Linux small operating system will be there, Java is installed, Linux operating system which is there, VM is there, right? And plus like all the commands are there, many other dependencies are there. All these things you will build as a package actually. And what happened, right? We will tell that please run that package. Run that package. It means that in your local machine, you need not to go and install any of the softwares. No. When they give this package, what happened, right? You can just directly take that package and run it actually. So that your application will also run along with that. Actually. So it means that somewhere you are trying to, avoid doing everything by your own. You build this a package where all kind of a dependency for application to run, everything will be there, right? And then like take that package and just, just run it actually. Just run it actually. And whatever the package I'm talking in the generic term, whatever the package which I'm talking about, in real time, when it comes to the containerization, we call that as a Docker image. It means that, sir, whenever in Docker, I want to build application, I want to build the application. Okay. Then we come across with the term called Docker images. How to build a Docker image and all, how to write a Docker a file, right? How to add on all those dependencies. So there are certain things are there, which a lot of things are there which we'll be learning in our Docker session, but not now actually. I'm just telling you a very high level, right? So Docker image something instead of package we start calling it as a Docker image. And Docker image, like it's a process, it's a way of building a Docker file. With the help of a Docker file, you will be able to create images actually. So we will try to learn elaborately, guys, what is this Docker host, what is this Docker server, how do you create the images and all, what are the compulsions we have, how to overcome from that. So many things are there. I will be discussing in a very brief way when we start with Docker. Okay. Okay, guys. Apart from this, what else we have? Okay, fifth is something we call it as an orchestration. So, guys, whatever we are discussing now, what is it actually? All these things comes under your key features of DevOps. So this is one of the key feature. So now what we do basically, guys, like what is this orchestration is called? Okay, fine, Rajesh, you said that earlier. You said that okay, you have a Docker image. Very good. I have a Docker image now. Okay, what you're going to do? You're going to make that image that they're running. It means that you'll make that image to run. Once you make that image to run, like okay, in containerization, we call something like whenever you want to run an application, it has to run an application with the help of a concept known as a container. So what is this container? We will discuss it later. Don't worry, right? Container is something where you will be running your image. Inside the container, your image will be running. So as part of running that application, what happened, right? What Docker will do, Docker will create its own Docker container to run it, right? So same thing, whatever you are trying to do, same thing can achieve everything with many other things are there. Like orchestration is something where you will be managing all these things through Kubernetes also. Kubernetes also you can make any of your application running where it has something like a image type, right? Applications are there. You can run anywhere. It's not like that you have to run here only. You can run anywhere. It'll work. Right. Now, my question is that what is in by orchestration? Okay, orchestration is something where suppose you have a Docker image and you are running your Docker image. So as soon as you are running the Docker image means you will create a container and that container will having your application. Means that it will be making your application under running or will make the application run. So it means that guys, as soon as you come across with this concept of container, then what happen automatically what happened, guys? The application will be running inside that container. Now the question comes that okay, Rajesh, now I understood that there is an image, there's an image. You take that image and you try to run that image, and as part of execution, what happened? Your application will be running, your app will be running under that container. Right. Now, the thing is that, okay, your application is up and running now. Now, who will manage or who's going to maintain your container? It means that suppose, assume that somehow this container got corrupted or it had some issues, it couldn't run. What will happen? Who will manage it? Who will maintain it? Right. So in that case, guys, you need some kind of a strong orchestration tool or system where with the help of an orchestration, you'll be able to manage all the things. Right. It means that, for example, if you are running your application in container, what happened, right? Your Docker will generate the logs actually. So it means that as soon as you run your container, what happened, right? It will try to generate many logs actually. And that logs will have a lot of inputs, right? For example, what is the current status of your image? Okay. How much time it will take to run actually? What are the dependency it wants? So many things, you need to have an information. So now what happened, right? When you are making your Docker run, Docker will also generate the logs. So with the help of a log, with the help of a logs, with the logs, we can able to understand or you're able to get where are the failures. It means that suppose I said earlier, right, your container goes down or your application goes down or your container goes down, it means that your application is not up and running. Then how you are going to do it? You will be able to understand everything with help of a logs only. So under the logs, what happened, right? You will get some warnings actually where while you look into the warnings, you should be able to restart your container. You know to restart the container to fix the issue. Suppose the restart also will doesn't works out, okay, works out, then what happened that you need to do some modification or you need to create a new container. So these are certain things actually. Right. So now somebody has to be there, right, who will manage all the Docker container. Who will do it? That's all done by the orchestration tool. So here the best orchestration tool what we have is a Kubernetes. Some companies or many of the companies have uses the OpenShift. Okay. Any other tool? Earlier we had one tool known as Apache Mesos, but I'm not sure how many people are using that Apache Mesos. And in case of cloud provides its own service. In AWS we call it an EKS. In Azure we call it an AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service and all like that. So yeah, so it means that managing your whole infrastructure and checking like which are all the pods which are running, which are the pods which are stopped, what is the current status, everything you will be able to get the information with the help of a orchestration tool. And that the famous what we'll be learning is a Kubernetes actually. Kubernetes is also open source. OpenShift is also an open source, but still what happened, right? Not all the models are free there. So he will give some free version open source. You'll be working. Later you have to switch into from the open source open version to the enterprise version. You have to shift it actually. So that's what most of the companies will go always the enterprise version for OpenShift actually. OpenShift also a lot of companies have started using it now. Am I clear, sir? Till here, right? So you have OpenShift, you have Kubernetes, you have many things actually. So what will do that? Kubernetes, if I talk about Kubernetes, Kubernetes has a feature where you can do a lot of automation. And also you can do a lot of monitoring also. And with that, whenever you want to make your application up and running, always, right, you need to have a strong monitoring system. If you have a strong monitoring system, you'll be able to understand, okay, where exactly the flaws are, when you are getting a particular warning. So as soon as you come across with certain warnings and all, you'll get alert. Actually, you'll try to work to fix that issue actually. So through that, what happened, right? Whatever the issue which you will get in the near future, right? You are predicting now only, you are getting the information now only. And then what happened, right? You're trying to make a fix for that actually. So that's what happened, right? You need to have a very strong monitoring system in your at your workplace so that you'll be able to do it. So orchestration and contagion, guys, these are certain two important things which I have to cover in a very in detail in the classes actually, because the whole like you can say the 40% of your DevOps, if you ask me, 40% of the DevOps is nothing but the containerization and your orchestration. 40% of the question will be asked in students. You might have heard, no, some of you might have been trying for the job. You might have seen that a lot of calls are coming, but ultimately what happens, they are only asking more on these two technology only. Plus, they are even asking for Python also. As I said earlier, Python is in a huge demand where you need to go and upgrade it. Guys, after this, the last but not least is a monitoring system. Monitoring, sorry, I'm writing somewhere. Yeah. Monitoring and I can say logging in actually. So guys, as I said earlier, right, when your application is running or it is getting executed under some server, right? So now what happened, right? What do you guarantee that your application will always be available to an end customer client? We cannot guarantee because the application can go down at any point of time. So we don't know. But what happened, right? If you are having a monitoring system, if you have enabled the monitoring system, so you need to enable the monitoring system. So by enabling the monitoring system, what happened, guys? Your monitoring system will try to, the monitoring system, what will do that? It will try to verify everything. It's going to go and check whether how the system is working, which is the server which is down, which is which is up, right? So many informations are that you're going to get through the monitoring system, right? So under the monitors, you have many tools, guys, but most of them tools which supports for node metrics is something which people are looking for. So node metrics is something like where you want to monitor the hardware resources. Say, for example, you want to monitor how much is the CPU is utilized in your server, how much is the RAM memory size, or how much is your uh, RAM memory, your file system disk space. So you need to monitor multiple things actually. That's what would happen, right? You call that as a node metrics actually. So node metrics you can configure to monitor many of the hardware resources. Am I clear, sir? Of course, in today's time, there are some tools like apart from your this one, what I call tool which I was talking about, right? Like yeah, so the tool I think I have not discussed. Tools like, for example, Prometheus with Grafana. So guys, this is something which is heavily used across many of the organization. Okay. Prometheus Grafana will do your node metrics. It does all your node monitoring. As I said, right? Whenever you want to monitor your CPU, RAM memory, or the file system disk space, many of the other resources are there. It will do all those things. Which tool? Prometheus with the Grafana. Many of the other company, they use some tool, the Victoria tool. Victoria tool. They use it actually. They call it as a Victoria metrics, right? It also does many of the things actually, right? So now, apart from your application monitoring, as I said, right, it does application monitoring as well as the logging. Logging is something where, guys, for example, if you're running the application, what do you mean by logging? Right? Suppose you're running an application. So what will do that your application will be throwing a lot of logs actually. Throwing a lot of logs actually. So with the help of a logs, you can able to distinguish or you'll be able to understand like what is the status of your application, whether it's up or not, whether it is responding to a query or not. There are so many things are there which you will do some small testing to verify it actually. So now what happened, right? Like if the things are not, if the application not up and running, what happened? The application will throw the errors. Those errors will be keep coming to the log files. And you know to monitor these logs files only. Suppose you say, Rajesh, I want to monitor logs files. Is there any error which the application is throwing, or is there any some other concerns where, is there any other things are there where I need to really, keep a tab on that. I have to do it. So guys, what happened that you have a logging system. Logging system, something which will only monitor, do everything only logs only. So one of the very important tool which we came across is the ELK, Elastic Log Stash Kibana tool. We call now it as Elasticsearch. So there are many tools out in the market. I'm not mentioning everything, guys. Just one or two only I'm saying so that you are aware of it. Don't get confused because usually in an organization or somewhere, right, when you talk to the people, right, like they will use different tools actually. One person say I'm using Splunk tool. One I'll say that I'm using ELK. The other person will say I'm using AppDynamics. You should not get fear actually. You should think that okay, all that these are monitoring tools. Yes, of course, every different tool has a different configuration, different way of working, but it doesn't mean that you have not worked on that tool means you're not aware. Maybe you might be very good at Elasticsearch. You might not have come across the Splunk tool. So given some opportunity to work on it, you will definitely run. And that is not a big thing. Now, main challenge what happening everywhere in India, whenever we search for a job, right? Whatever they have their requirement, no, they will tell, okay, we need this tool, we need that tool. Maybe you might have known that or might not known, but still they'll ask it. So you should be very specific, saying like when you're saying that, okay, madam, I am working on this tool. I have very good hold on this tool. Okay, please let me know if there are any opportunity related to even this tool also. Right. So in that case, what happened, guys? You should be very strict with what is your whatever you have a knowledge, right? Only that has to be showcased. It's not like that. Okay, if the industry needs some tool, okay, you start upgrading for that. It doesn't make sense because every company have their own requirement. But minimum if number of tools and number of technology you learn, right, you will be able to apply for all the companies actually. Minimum number of tools like Kubernetes, Docker, Terraform, Ansible, Jenkins, or GitHub Actions, and one or two monitoring system. Some of the common tools which you have upgraded very well, right? Then I think you will get a job opportunities. Okay, guys. So logs, something like okay, application logs is something which is very important. We need to monitor through logs also, like what things are what you can predict. It means that if suppose if the application is up and running, due to some reason, maybe the application might get crashed in the near future. So you'll be getting warnings, certain warnings. So if you understand that warnings, right, you'll be able to get to know that okay, your health of the application might go down in some time or something like that. So before only you will take an action actually. So this all comes under your monitoring system. So under the monitoring system, guys, I'll be covering Prometheus with Grafana, and also I told that I'll be covering with Splunk also. So let me check how much I will cover because Splunk is something which is a very huge topic. So instead of Splunk, I was just thinking that to take Dynatrace. So you can use any number of tools, guys. Any number of tools you can use. There is no hard restriction. Right. But what happened? You should be at least perfect in one, at least minimum in one monitoring system. Like Elasticsearch, you worked. Oh, you should be very good at that. That Prometheus Grafana I worked. You should be very good at that. So whatever you have been doing, do the same thing. You continue it. Later, you can upgrade into some other tools also, monitoring tools also. Is it fine, guys? Still here? Is it okay for you all? I know it was quite theoretical thing which I'm covered, but don't worry, guys. Certain theoretical things we would be covering it so that we should be knowing all such things, all that concept. So once we started doing a lot of practicals and hands-on and discussion in the topic itself, then like you will see that like I'll be covering very much a lot of things I'll be covering, and also you'll get to know. Yeah, thank you, Girish. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's all about the logging and monitoring. Okay, one of the other thing which I was thinking to discuss. Okay, something you might have, a lot of people might have come across with something we call it as a microservices. So this is something the concept itself is very a lot of things are there is to make you understand in what is this microservice all about. But I will try to give a small explanation so that you will be understanding it. Yeah, DevSecOps is huge demand, Krishna. What you said is right. Like I will try to tell about the DevSecOps in some time now. What is it? So that we will be aware of what are the tools which are there under the DevSecOps. Now, before we get into what is microservice, guys, there is something we call as a monolithic actually. Now, earlier what happened, most of the application, very long back, like around 10, 15 or 20 years back, right? Most of the applications where they will build under this monolithic architecture. So monolithic architecture is something like, for example, if you take one application, which is the e-commerce application, it has so many components and everything, right? What you will do that, like for example, if you're having e-commerce application, you might have a lot of section of your application, something like you have a front end of your application, you have a login page of the application, you are having a cart, CRT cart of that application. Finally, even you have a payment of the application. So there are so many components are there within your e-commerce. E-commerce is a very huge application, but if you take it, it has so many components, everything, and all these components are they all work together because it is a monolithic. It means that when you try to call that application, all this application will reside under the same server, and also like it will take some time to make it up because there is so many dependencies will be there, right? So what I'm trying to do is that if you take this application, e-commerce application, and if you try to deploy into some server, then the application will be up and running. Application will be running. Okay, now the point is that suppose, for example, tomorrow you say, Rajesh, I want to go and I want to update some details in the payment itself. Under the payment section of your code, right? You said I want to do some kind of enhancement or I want to fix this issue. So what happened, right? If you try to do any one changes into it, you need to take the all this code, everything, again you have to do a compilation and everything, and again you have to go and deploy it. So it is a very, very time consuming process because here what happened, right? You cannot go and singly add any one component of your application. So when you go and do any changes to the at least just one in only one component, then it means that you need to rebuild the whole application. You need to deploy again the same application actually into some other server. So it's a very, very tedious task again. It's so hence what happened, right? We came across with something as a microservices. So microservices, what microservices says? Microservices, as the name says, micro means small. So what we'll do means we'll take the same e-commerce application, we'll break down that application, and we'll try to create separate model. Like for example, for the payment, you'll try to create a separate microservices. For the cart application, you'll try to create separate microservices. Similarly, for the logging in, right? Similarly, in case if your application having some front end, you want to right? So now, so it means that for anything, whatever we do it in under the microservice, it means that you are going to take it and make it a very small application. You're going to take. You are going to separate it out the whole big application into small. And guys, this is something which most of the organizations are using. Microservice is something very popular, which we use it actually, and uh, all your latest application which has been built and deployed, everything there, it is through microservice only, right? Okay. So I will discuss about more about microservice later, not at this point of time, right? What I understood is that microservice is something where we take an application, we break that application in various different components, and again that separate component, whatever we are breaking, right? Some engineers will be there who will be working only on that model or only on that component. Some developer will only working on the cart. Some developer only working on login. Some application developer only working on front end. So you have a separate dedicated team, but what happened? You will be working the whole, you're building the whole application, everything with help of a microservice concept actually. So why they do it? Because guys, tomorrow if you're going and if you say, Rajesh, I want to do some changes to the payment gateway application, then what happened, guys? Without making your downtime of your application, you can go and directly go and upgrade this payment. It will work. So it means that the existing application or existing feature should not be disturbed by adding some other code actually, right? So if you added any new code change into the into the payment gateway or into the payment, maybe it might not properly work with other component of your application. There might be some issue, right? So there are many things are there. That's what guys we build this microservices so that it will make again managing, maintaining of your application, everything dynamically you can manage everything very easily when it is a microservices. Right now, coming back to the DevSecOps actually. So I think Krishna was asking about a DevSecOps. Okay, let's talk about that also in some time for Some few minutes I'll discuss about what is DevSecOps. So guys, as I said, right, security is a most highly concerned aspect, most concerned aspect in DevOps actually. So earlier what happened, security was that not that much, right? They were not giving that much importance to security. But in today's world, right, like when we are working in 2025, like so many applications, right, people are developing and they're doing it actually. So there has to be some kind of a security aspect should be enabled so that you should not see any kind of an end surprise. Suppose some hacker want to hack your application or you want to hack the website, right? So how do you avoid it actually so that your application should not be hacked by anyone? So there are certain tools are there. Using the tools, you can able to block anyone. You will be able to block that application to be accessed by some other third party person, right? So now what happened, guys? When the security, the most highly concerned thing comes, what they do that they integrate all these security tools into the DevOps pipeline. Into the DevOps pipeline means CI/CD pipeline only. So wherever the CI/CD pipeline flow is going, what they do that they go and add some kind of a security in each and every stage or each and every step. Okay, so that what happened, right? Whatever it does, right, it will accordingly it will secure it actually. It means that suppose if you are using some tools like GitLeaks, you're using some tools like Trivy you're using. So there's a specific usage for that tool, right? So if you use that tool, what happened, right? You are there will not be any kind of an issue actually in application. If you're not using, there will be security loopholes will be there in application. Maybe somebody might hack your application. Somebody can do damage to your application. So there are multiple things are there actually, right? So security is something which is most important concern. And today's time, right? Security also they are very much worried when they ask in the interview. Also, they will try to ask you like which are all the security related services you have worked on. Can you tell me the few names? And if you have used across a lot of projects, then give us elaborate discussion about what was your roles and responsibility in that security related project or something like that. And then uh, what are the things you have done? You have worked on it actually in the real time plus what is can say that how we can say what are the measures you have taken for like for all these certain unusual uh, stuffs what happens right in the IT, right? So there what happened, you will be start speaking only in terms of security only. Means you will be talking about security, you'll be talking about the tools which have come up in the market in security. Such tool only you will be discussing. Okay. So now guys, what happened, right? DevSecOps, right? There are multiple tools are there, many tools are there, but both the tools, many of the tools, they are divided into two categories. One is a SAST and other is a DAST actually. So all the security tools falls under these two category only. It could be either SAST or it could be either DAST actually. Okay. SAST means, I write the full form. Now what is it? Static Application Security Testing. DAS is something like Dynamic Application Security Testing. This because of Dynamic Application Security Testing. That's a full form of SAS and DAS. One second, guys. Yeah. So now these are two categories actually, right? Now what is this SAST or what is this DAST actually, right? Okay. Now guys, when it comes to the SAST, like those tools which comes under the SAST actually, right? What they do means they will try to do all kind of a security test onto the code only, code format only. It means that when the developer develops a code, he will have that code into some format, right? Let it be something like you have developed the Java code, or let it be C++ code, or let it be Node.js, or whichever language you use, right? You try to have that code actually. So what we can do that with the help of a SAST, you can able to directly run some tool where it will try to check the code issue actually. If there is any code issues there, right? So or not, how is it? It means that before you deploy, before you compile and deploy and everything, with the help of just with the code only, you can able to do some kind of a testing activity so that you will understand if there is any kind of issues are there in the code format only. That we call as a SAST actually, Static Application Security Testing, right? So what we do basically, this code format, whatever the code format which you have written, right? what are the code format which you have written, right? That basically will keep it under the GitHub, right? But there has to be some tool where what happened, the tool can scan the code and then it can able to tell you what is the issue with the code itself, right? So that is what we call the SAST. Under the SAST, guys, where it will only do a testing on the code only, right? Under the SAST, okay, there are many tools are there which we'll discuss now. Same thing with the DAST. What is DAST means? Say for example, if you are having an application which you have already deployed into a server. Say for example, Rajesh, I will take a Docker file. I built a Docker file. I've created a Docker container, and I have made the Docker up and running, right? Right. Similarly, you have a Kubernetes cluster where in that Kubernetes cluster, whatever the code you have written, you already compiled everything, you built it, and you have given that code. That code is up and running. But where it is running, it is running under that. It's running under some server or some cluster actually. So, is there any way, Rajesh, where I can verify, do some kind of a security testing when the application is being deployed or application is running? It's already deployed, it's running. I want to do some kind of security test. Yeah, you can do it with the help of a DAST. DAST means dynamic application security testing. Right. Now, what are the different tools? What are the other lot of different tools are there which comes under the SaaS, which comes under the DAS category? Let's see now. So under the SaaS, guys, there are some very good tools are available, right? One among them is we call the Git leaks. So these are the tools which I'll be covering in our class actually. So what this Git leaks will do, that Git leaks will directly do some kind of a security testing in the code itself. Mean that if you're having a code in a GitHub, okay, in your GitHub, so GitHub is one of the source code versioning tool where developer usually keep all the codes under the GitHub only, right? What the Git leaks will do, Git leaks will directly go and verify any kind of a security issues, everything to the code, directly to the code only. So now what exactly Git leaks does basically Git leaks will, it will check if there are any sensitive data. So what do you mean by sensitive data? For example, you have written a code, right? And you have added some kind of a password. Say for example, you have added a DB password. In some file, you have mentioned, okay, this is a DB password. Okay. Or else some many times what happened that you will try to insert some kind of a tokens actually. Or else you would have given something like an access keys. So these are certain things which you will be knowingly or unknowingly, you will be pushing everything into the GitHub account. It means that you will be pushing into the code only. Later, you might get aware, oh man, I should have not given that password directly into that file. I should have not given that token directly. But assume that you have mistakenly or unknowingly given it actually. So what this Git leaks will do, it will try to scan the whole code and it will try to check if there is any passwords or tokens or access key which are being given as part of that code only, right? So what happened, right? As soon as you check it out, what happened, right? This Git leaks will verify, check it the whole. It'll try to do some kind of a scanning where it'll try to scan the whole code which is there in the GitHub. It'll try to verify, and then what is happening that it is going to give you the Git leaks is going to give an output. Something okay, there are some 30 leaks are there, something like that. There are 30 leaks are there out. Okay, so it'll also say like how many number of in those 30 leaks, those 30 leaks in how many files and also in which line number. So that's all. By going through that output of the GitLeaks tool, guys, those who have implemented this application, right, he will get to know, okay, there are some flaws are there in my application, right? Okay, mistakenly have added all those databases, username, password, or GitHub actions, access keys or tokens, everything. And mistakenly, I've given it actually, given with the code only. So that's not correct actually. So it will give the report actually. By going through a report, you will understand your mistakes, right? And then like what happened, you will rectify it actually. That is what the GitLeaks does actually. So what we have to do, guys, we have to understand what this GitLeaks does, how to install, how to configure it. That is something which is quite interesting how to learn, right? And after that, how GitLeaks comes into the picture in our DevOps lifecycle, right? That is also very important, right? How I can use the GitLeaks in my project actually, right? So many things are there which will be learning. So this is one tool under the SAST actually. And the second one, what we have is a Trivy tool, Trivy, Trivy. Some of you might have heard about this Trivy, right? So basically what happened, it also does the security code scan check, security scan check, or code check, or code scan, onto the source code only, onto the source code which is available in your Git, as well as it will also check the dependency. It means that suppose if you're building an application, you might have used so many other dependencies, right? It will also verify like what are the dependencies are there, and if there is any vulnerability issue in that dependency. So it checks, who checks your Trivy tool? It checks if there are any vulnerability issue. A vulnerability issue in the source code actually. Okay, so now guys, what happened, right? Usually what happened, right? This Trivy tool is meant for two things. One is vulnerabilities in dependencies. So what are the dependencies in that dependency? Also, there will be a lot of vulnerabilities will be there. It try to check that. And then the second important thing is that it also, your Trivy tool also will try to verify, check if there are misconfiguration in the in the Kubernetes cluster or whatever. Suppose you have built a Kubernetes cluster, but later what happened, you are trying to pass some misconfigured files or misconfigured data. So at that time, what happened, there might be some issues actually. So to overcome that, this Trivy tool is available. Trivy tool will try to check any kind of vulnerabilities into all your dependency. See, for example, and how it does actually, how exactly Trivy will do that, because there is one database there. Okay, database is there which we call it as something known as what is it? National NVD, National Vulnerability. Uh, it could be either a description or a description, something I don't know. NVD means National Vulnerability Database. Sorry, not database actually. NVD means National Vulnerability Database. National Vulnerability Database is something a large database where they maintain all the dependencies which is having an issue. Say, for example, in your Java project, you are building a Java project, you might use some dependencies. The dependency is some version you're using, but that version itself is having some problem. Because in the NVIDIA database, right, National Vulnerability Database, right, they have given the details that, okay, that particular version, if you're using, right, then there will be a problem for you in your code or in your application. Don't use that version like that, they will tell you. So guys, what happened, right? Whenever you are building a Java application, or not only Java, any application, it needs a dependency. It requires the dependencies. The dependency could be any kind of a software, or it could be any kind of a software. It could be anything, guys, actually. Right, right. So it requires a dependency. So what your Trivy will do, that Trivy will go and check that whatever the dependencies which you are using, whether it is correct or not. Right. Say, for example, if you are writing code, actually, suppose if you're writing a code, uh, which is the code, man? If you're writing a Node.js code, so Node.js code, it internally uses a file known as a package.json file. Okay, so in this package.json file, would have mentioned, okay, these are the dependencies or these are the additional software you have to install it. But they would have given some version. Say, for example, I'm using some Aztec as a dependency. It is 1.1 version. But in the National Vulnerability Database, they are given that, okay, that version, particular version with that number, don't use it actually. It has some flaws actually. So it'll give a report so that you can go and you can use the higher version of that application. Right, like that. The NVIDIA National Vulnerability Database has all the checks of all the application which has some security information or loopholes are there. So it will manage and maintain everything. Right, guys? So similarly, suppose Rajesh, I'm building some .NET application, right? For the .NET application, guys, the dependency of what happened, you will maintain some in some files a CG pros file. So CG pros file will have all kind of an issue of all kind of a I can say that dependencies of what is required, right? That everything you'll get through the CSV format, right? For example, in case of Java, what happened, right? In case of a Java, one second, guys. In case of a Java, when you're building a Java program, so usually a developer will write a Java code. And what happens, one of the important file which they add is a pom.xml file. So this pom.xml file has a lot of dependencies. It will has that information about what are the dependencies for your application. So what happened when you scan the pom.xml file, right? Whatever the dependencies are, all will be automatically get downloaded actually. You need not to worry. But while downloading it, if there is any issue with the dependency, suppose in that it is having some mismatch with the NVIDIA database, then NVIDIA database will throw error saying that okay, there is some issue with that version. Don't use that version actually like that. So that you'll aware of, you got the report, you are aware of, then what happened, you will wisely choose some other version. Am I clear, sir? So if you go to my GitHub, if you go to my GitHub account, see here, GitHub account, github.com. So let me log into my GitHub account. Uh, what happened, man? Incorrect username password. Oh, thing I have forgotten, man. Is how come my GitHub? One second. Correct only. Yeah, yeah. It's this is what it is. So now you could see that, guys. If you go here and if you go and check the repositories here, these are all my repositories actually, right? And if I go to some application, say for example, if I go to the Spring Pet Clinic, so this is a Java-based application, right? If I go to the Java-based, can you see somewhere there's a pom.xml file here? Here, can you see pom.xml? Click on the pom.xml file. And if you come down, you will see that there are so many dependencies are there. Like for example, for your Spring Pet Cleaning application, it needs all this web dependencies. For example, WebJar bootstrap dot version, it needs this 5.3.3 version, right? WebJar hyphen front AWSM version, something. They're given these versions actually. So Jacogo, you could say that this is a version. So it means that in the pom.xml file, it is mentioned that what are the dependencies and what are the version of dependency it requires. If that whatever you mentioned here, if that version itself is having some vulnerability issue, then what happened? This Trivy tool, right? This Trivy tool, while scanning it, what happened? It's going to catch it. How it catches? It checks whatever it is there, the dependency. It will match with the NVIDIA database. So there is a conflict is there. So then what happened? This Trivy tool will try to create a report and it gives that report to you. And now what happened that you can take that report and you can give that report to the developer. Developer will go and he'll fix that issue. It is like that only. So it's a moral duty that you need to always run the code onto this, run this scanning code and all with that build tool, right? And once you not build tool, sorry, you run onto that code actually, your application code. So once it checks once it scans it actually, and once it verify everything to NVIDIA, if there are no issues with the version what you're using, then it will say as a pass. Otherwise, it will throw error saying that okay, these are the vulnerability issues are there in this particular dependency version. Please go and upgrade it or do modify to some other version like that. So very quite interesting, guys, because in many of the interviews they have asked this private tool also. Am I clear, sir? Right. So as I said earlier, right, suppose we are having some ABC application. ABC's application is having some dependency, which is 1.1 version, right? But when you're running the Trivy test on it, right, Trivy scan on it. So what that has identified that 1.1 dependency version, he's having some issue because it has verified the dependency version with this NVIDIA. It found that 1.1 is having some vulnerability issues, 1.1 dependency. Then what happened? It will show the error. It will show the error. So now you got to know, okay, I'm using 1.1. Let me use 1.2 version and verify whether 1.2 version is having issue or not. Again, you're going to do a scanning, and again in this time, what happened? It will not throw any error. It says that 1.2 is perfectly fine. So in this way, we can avoid all kind of issues which can happen in the near future. You can catch all these issues at the very early stage only. That's what we use all the security tools, guys. Am I clear, sir? I hope that you have understood, guys, whatever I'm saying it. Okay. Okay, good. So this everything, guys, what are all the things? Trivia tool is there, which we have covered. And one more is there, which I'm just missing, guys. Okay, GitLake is there. Tribe is there. One more tool which comes under the SAST actually. What is that? Yeah, yeah. Now I remember. SonarQube actually. So SonarQube, most of you have heard about it. The SonarQube tool, guys. The SonarQube comes under the SAST category. Okay, right. What it does, SonarQube also will try to do a, a scan onto the whole code itself. It means that it will scan the your source code only. Means the developer who has written the source code, right? They will scan it. What the SonarQube will do, that SonarQube is going to check whether there is any bugs in the development code, or whether there is any duplication in the code. So, right, whether it is meeting some standards, it is meeting some standards. Some meeting some standards means basically what happened, right? It is trying to check if there is something which we call the code coverage. I'll discuss about this code coverage later. So it's going to check whether what are the code is there when you run the SonarQube is meeting that standard or meeting that code coverage. If it is meeting, then the SonarQube will say that okay, that report it will say as a passed actually. Suppose it has found some bugs, right? Then the test reports will not be passed; it will be fail actually. Then you need to share that SonarQube report to the developer, and developer will go and fix it. Similarly, suppose for example, if there are any duplicate codes are available, suppose the developer has written some 500 lines of code, out of which 100 lines of code they have repeated in two places. So it checks. So SonarQube will check and it'll identify why there is a duplicate same code. Then what happened? Give suggestions saying that okay, this code are duplicate. Please go. If it finds that okay, there is no logic behind having that duplicate code, it will tell you to go and delete those codes actually. So sometime what happened? Repeatedly, we will try to add the code actually, which becomes like a duplicate. So you need to avoid all such things. So that's what it will throw as the duplication. So guys, SonarQube is very, very important, guys, in the real time. Okay, and you have to be very much careful because in an interview also they'll ask you a lot of things in SonarQube. For sure, they're going to ask you in the SonarQube also because they will ask you like how do you configure it everything in the SonarQube in the real time in the okay, that is one thing they'll ask. And what they'll ask you that. How do you troubleshoot certain issue with the SonarQube itself? Suppose SonarQube is not up and running, right? You need to do a lot of troubleshooting to make it up. Okay, what are the issues? Why the SonarQube service will not come up in the real time? Can you explain me the scenario they'll ask you? So you have to tell that also. It's not only that you have to even understand more about the tool also. First, understand more about the tool, and then when you run that tool onto the source code, what are the report you're getting, right? That report analysis also you have to do it, and finally you have to share that report to the developer, right? So SonarQube majorly does important things. One is it's going to do a code coverage, guys. This is one thing which I'll be discussing in a SonarQube class. And the second important thing which it does it actually, that is the first one. And the second important to that it's going to do a code quality check also. What is this code quality check? Again, we will discuss in our SonarQube class, but not now, right? And as I said, right, reports will be generated by the SonarQube and the reports of will be shared to the developer, Whether it's a pass or fail, you need to share always the SonarQube reports actually. Am I clear, sir? Okay, somebody, yeah. Okay, good. So any questions so far, Girish, Rajiv, Pankaj? Anything is coming to your mind, Vicky?
Yes, I have two questions. Like you said about SonarQube and other one is like Trivi, right?
Hmm.
So these tools will differentiate. For example, SonarQube will
Hmm.
only check for the code quality.
Hmm.
That means it goes through with the only the code.
Hmm.
And Triview will only check the vulnerabilities in the dependence. That means it only checks for the pom.xml, correct?
Yes, right, 100%. And also, like, what happened is there if there is any misconfigurations in certain things, like in Kubernetes cluster, right? If you are writing some configuration which is not properly configured very well, it also even checks that also. Suppose you can even run the Trivy tool in your Kubernetes cluster also. That is also one important thing because in interview they ask many things. What are the tools which are used for Kubernetes cluster? We can say I have used Trivy tool. So Trivy tool not only checks the dependency for your dependency issue in your code, also it checks the misconfiguration in your Kubernetes cluster also. Or else if there is any vulnerability issue in your Kubernetes cluster only, that also your Trivy will give you the report. So with that also you can tell, okay, the existing Kubernetes cluster itself has some issue actually. So you have to tell that either you need to fix it or you need to ask somebody or your architect or anyone who's managing that cluster, they will fix that issue.
Okay. And one more thing, like I wanted to know, is my understanding is correct or not? Like in GitHub, we will be having the source code and we'll be having the front end source code and we'll be having a database also. No, right?
No, total database you can't. I mean, you will not be having in the GitHub. GitHub only have the your application. See, application is something where you have front end of your application, back end of the application, or entire application. The whole source code of the application, what happened, you will maintain the GitHub repository, right? And that code will be written in any language. It could be written in Java, it could be written in C or C++, it could be written in Node.js, Go language, or Python language. Any language it could be, man. It is immaterial, but it should be a source code. It means that it should be your application data only. It means that the front end and the back end of the application. You can divide also. You can divide in one folder. You can keep a front end of the application. In the one of the other folder, you can keep a back end of the application. All together, everything you can keep under the same place path. Like for example, here you could see like here you could see that. You could see that there are so many folders are there like this, right? Source is there. Source is something where you will try to keep all your application here in the source actually. Right? Because you are following the Maven way of doing it. Maven is a build tool which is used to build a Java application. So Maven will tell you like how do you manage or how do you maintain all the source code in a particular manner. What are the folder structure should be that it is saying. That's the reason what happened if you see this Spring Pet Clinic, it has certain way of managing the code. So you need to have a source. Under that again, you need to have two important folders. One is a main and test like that. Main is something where all your code will be kept. Like could see that you have kept the code here like this. See, your pet, see, petclinic.java, petclinic runtime hyphen Java. So this is the actual file, source code file, Java file, which you have kept it actually like this. If you click on it, you could see this is a source code actually, something like that. So what I'm trying to tell that if you're following a Maven way of building it, you need to follow certain way of maintaining this code in a particular form. So this is the particular form. Like you need to have a folder. Under that, you need to have all this directories actually. You need to have one source folder as well as you need to have some other files. Like one of the other important is pom.xml. Rest other are dependency, man. You need not to completely have all this thing, but they have given it. Okay, if you're building through Gradle tool, you have a Gradle.ew. When you're building, if you are trying to build as a Docker Compose file, there's a Docker. All these things we'll discuss later. But this is something like a directory structure actually of your source code of your Spring Pit. Similarly, what happened, right? There are many other things are there. Like for example, if you go to my GitHub, you will have if you go to my repo, you have some of the other repos like you have a hello.asp. This is a .NET application. If you go here under this folder, .NET will manage in its own way. You have only hello.world. It's a small cs.html file which I maintain it like this. So you need not to worry about the structure of the way source codes are kept. I'll discuss those things later with you guys. How do they maintain it? But what happened broadly, most of the time you would have seen that we will be working either the Java based application or either we will be going through only to the .NET based application. Only these are the two major types of application we use. And of course, like you have a Python also. Python is a very simple way of managing, maintaining the Python code in the Git, right? But what is the format and all, we will see it later, not now immediately, right? So now, sorry, who asked me the question?
Yeah, Girish. Yeah.
Yeah, Girish. Wow, Girish, what you said is right. Like we have a Trivy. One more is there, which I missed out. OWASP. OWSP dependency tool is there. That is also a tool which you use, but it is same thing like a Trivy tool only. It also does the vulnerability checks into the dependency. It also checks that there is misconfiguration in your Kubernetes cluster or into the Docker file, whatever might be. So it also does. So when both tools are doing same thing, then why you have to have two tools at a time, right? I can do everything through Trivy only, and Trivy will do more operation than OWSP tool actually. That's the reason I'm not saying anything in OWS ASP tool. Only Trivy is sufficient for us to, because Trivy will do both the operation It checks both the things as well as it has some additional things which will do it actually. Is it fine, guys? So fine, this is all about the SAST tool. Let me quickly go to the DAS tool, guys. I think we're already running. Uh, okay, DAS tool. DAS tool, as I said, guys, whenever you are having a code which is either deployed or installed, right, and you want to check, do some kind of a security checks onto the application which is already installed or deployed, then we use something as a DAST actually, DAST, right? DAST means a dynamic application security testing, right? So one of the tool which is highly recommended is OWASP ZAP tool. This is one tool which they use for DAST actually, right? Right. So what they do basically, guys, say for example, if you are having your application, suppose I build the Amazon.com web application, Amazon.com. I have this application which I have deployed or installed into. I have this application which is running in some server. Right. So how would I access that application, guys? I'll go to the browser. I'll just say www.amazon.com and check and enter and check it whether the application up or not. Right. I will verify it, right? Like that way, right? So by using a OWS app, what you can do that you can do a penetration testing. Means what happened, right? As soon as you hit this application in your browser, what is the flow it goes? What are the other dependency it calls actually, right? So how the packet flows actually, okay, and to which database it is trying to connect, okay, to which web server it is trying to connect. Are there any loopholes in that? So the penetration testing, what will do, it will give the complete report up about saying that okay, there is no issue when it is not finding any vulnerability points. It is finding or it is not finding any vulnerability points. Means vulnerability means is there any security threats are there in this application when a client is using it actually, or whenever any vulnerability, vulnerable points actually, not vulnerability, not vulnerability, vulnerable points. It checks it actually. So this is something like a penetration testing, or we call it a pen testing actually. Right. So this OWS app is also good tool, guys. It will give you that post the deployment of your application into the server, right? How that if there is any security loopholes are there in your application itself. So that the OWS app will do it actually. OWASP app tool will do. And apart from this, there's some other are there. Like for example, you have something like a secret management. What the secret management do, guys, basically, like for example, in the organization we use databases, and of course when you use a database you need to access the database with the help of username and the passwords. So directly sharing the username and the password directly either through a file or through anywhere, right? It is not a correct way, and you cannot expose the username and passwords directly, right, to anyone in the organization. Within the organization, even outside, anywhere, we will not do it actually. Hence, what happened, right? We manage all the passwords to we manage all the passwords with help of one of the tool we call as a HashiCorp Vault tool actually. So HashiCorp Vault tool will manage all the database passwords in rotation form actually. What is this rotation form? How do you do it? Everything we'll see it later. It will manage all this database efficiently. So instead of instead of directly giving it actually, what happened, right? You'll be picking up the values from the vault, what the vault gives to you. So as soon as a vault gives you some value to it, so it will be considered as a password, and with the help of that username and the vault output as a password, right? You'll be able to connect to the database, or you can do any operation on the database, right? This is something very interesting which we would be doing in our class. So HashiCorp, guys, HashiCorp Vault tool is a very good tool. We if you put in our resume and all, right, we have worked on HashiCorp Vault. It has a lot of weightage in your resume. Plus, you in many of the interviews they will ask you, have you used vaults in your projects or not? How you use it? How do you configure it? All such questions will be asked to you. So you need to tell about all these things. Okay, I think, guys, this much is about the DAS and DAST. I'm just thinking, or is there any other tools are there? OWSP Zap is there, and secret management is Vault. I think these two are sufficient. Later, I will see, guys. If in case if I'm finding any other things, right, I will be definitely adding in this DAST category. Okay. Yes, Istio and all. Istio service mesh comes under your Kubernetes, Krishna. Will you take any microservice open source project build? Yes, Naresh, I have to show that also. As I said, right, I'll be showing some 10 projects. In that, most of the projects are microservice based project only. Okay, good. Istio, Krishna, we'll be covering in the Kubernetes class. So we call it the service mesh Istio. That is one way of configuring your network trafficking is through service mesh Istio. Very quite interesting. These are the all, I can say, advanced things which are used in the real time in the organization. We have to have a knowledge on all these things actually. So guys, I've already covered like 1.5 hour class, not 1 hour 20 minutes class. I have to supposed to cover few more things actually. I thought I will try to show you how to create a account, AWS account, and how do you log in and how do you everything. I thought to show you, but I think I'll not be able to do it now because I have to cover few more things like what are the different deployment strategies we have. Is it fine if you all guys agree to give me another 15 minutes more so that I will cover certain things? Rajiv and Pankaj, for you is guys okay? Because I know that it's 12 o'clock here, right?
Yes, sir. Fine, fine. Okay.
तो 10 मिनट बस 10-15 मिनट बस मैं कवर कर
Okay.
दूंगा कुछ पंकज भाई ठीक रहेगा ना आपके लिए ठीक है yeah a few things man I will so tomorrow's session we will start with the AWS account creation and everything. Okay, now what is a deployment strategies actually? See, we have been hearing this deployment and all a lot of time. Deployment is something, guys, where we take the code, we will take the build code, we say build code, and we go and install it into some server, into the server. This is what in simple word we call the deployment. You call it as an installation. The same thing in DevOps, we call this same as a deployment actually. Now, what happened in the real time when we are working on to the deployment part, we are having various deployment strategies we have. It means that what are the different ways where you can go and build or install or deploy the application actually. So, right. So, what are the different deployment strategies? You might come across something as a rolling update. We might be hearing this a lot in the rate code activity also. What is a rolling update actually? So basically, rolling update is something like guys where suppose we have an application of V1 version 1, I can go and update the version to the V2. So it means that suppose some developer has given first version as a V1, okay, he will give it, you will go and deploy it. Later, what happened tomorrow, he'll enhance that application, he'll add some more features, and he'll give us a version of the V2. So now you'll say that Rajesh, I want to go and deploy the V2. Now, but what about the V1? What about the V1? V1 will be there, fine. But how we are going to update it? Oh, I'll follow some rolling update strategies. What is it? I'll be doing some rolling update strategy. Okay. So for that, for example, I'm just saying you, for example, if you are having these servers, like for example, you have these servers in an organization, you have server 1, server 2, server 3, or server 4, like this. This will be in a clustered form. Assume that this would be in clustered form. It means that all these 4 servers will be in one cluster actually, right? Now, okay, sorry. Okay, now what happened, right? Now what happened that you want to access this application is running. These are the servers, guys. These are the servers. Sorry, these are the servers. This is server 1, server 2, and server 3, so on. Okay, server 1, server. Sorry, I'll take it. Server 2, and this is server 3 and server. Like these are the servers. Now, whenever the end user, like this is a user, he want to access his application. He's an end user. He want to access his application. How do you access it? Basically, he can directly go and hit the IP address of the server 1. He can able to access it, or directly hit the IP address of the service 2 or service 3 or server 4. So by directly giving the IP address, he will be able to access it, that application. But we don't do it in the real time. What we do that here, what happened? We'll have something known as a web server, right? Or we call it as a load balancer. So what happened, right? The request will always go, we'll try to send the request from the user. It will try to send the request to load balancer. From the load balancer, what happened? The request will be forwarded to either this server or to this server or to this server or any one of the available server. The request will go like this. Same thing guys, like this, what happened in case of a Kubernetes. I know guys, many of you doesn't know Kubernetes, right? Here also what happened, right? You are having a Kubernetes cluster like this. This is a Kubernetes cluster. This we call as a Kubernetes cluster. So under the Kubernetes cluster, guys, here what happened, right? Whenever any application has to run inside the Kubernetes cluster, there is something, a concept known as a pod. This is something like a pod. What is pod? Don't worry now. Consider this as a server only as of now. But pod is something where your application will be running. Inside this pod, your application, your app or application will be running. Like this, application will be running, right? Now you say that Rajesh, the end user, he want to connect to this data, to this application which is running the Kubernetes cluster. So how the end user, like he can able to connect or he'll be able to access that application. So there is something in Kubernetes which we call it as a service. Here in the generic term, we call the load balancer. Same thing in case of a Kubernetes cluster, guys. In the Kubernetes environment, we call it as a service. In short, we call it an SVC like this. Right, SVC. So whenever user want to access the application which is running the Kubernetes cluster, we send a request to the Kubernetes, to the service, and from the service what happened, the request will be forwarded to any one of this pod like this. Sorry, man. Any one of this pod. So I'm just giving a very high level, guys, how things happens in normal server and in Kubernetes environment like this. Got it? Means the service will redirect that request to any one of the pod which is running in this Kubernetes cluster. Now the question comes, what I'm saying about what do you mean by rolling update? What do you mean by rolling update means? Suppose here what is happening that you are having a version 1, version 1, version 1. Everywhere in the server 1, server 2, server 3, server 4, all this server, there you are running your application which is a version 1 only. V1, 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 like this. Like this only. Now you are saying that Rajesh, all these days we are working on V1 and now the developer has given you to the V2 version. What is the deployment strategy we follow? We follow the rolling update deployment strategy. Means one server at a time or one pod at a time, we're going to upgrade from V1 to V2 like that. So why we are doing that? Because guys, we are doing this because that there shouldn't be any kind of a downtime. Should not happen. There should not be any downtime. Am I clear, sir? So what they do basically, when you are having some kind of a cluster, what in the real time they do, right? They will try to, they will try to have one more kind of a cluster here, like this. They'll try to create. Inside the cluster, you have a machines here like this. Like here, what they do, right? They will try to do the V2 update. They'll try to give you the V2 version they'll deploy. Or else what happened, right? This is other strategy which I will discuss later. So what they do, right? They will take this one server at a time. What they'll do, they'll make this down. The remaining other three will be up and running. They will be giving a service. Only this server they'll take where the V1 is running in server 1. What they'll do, right? They will make this server 1 down and they'll upgrade from V1 to V2 and again they will make back the server up actually. So this machine server will have a latest V2 version like this. Right? Now it got it. Now they will verify, check it whether the load balancer is sending any request or not. Yeah, it is sending to V2 also. So they'll confirm it and then they'll go with the other server. They'll try to upgrade from V1 to V2 and they'll make it up again. Like this, one at a time. If one at a time, they will do it so that there'll not be any kind of a downtime of the application. So the customer will never see any kind of a downtime of the application. He'll feel like, okay, I'm accessing the application. But in the back end, one node after the other, will be keep updating to the latest version. This is what we call the rolling update actually. So guys, I hope that you understood this concept, right? Okay, good.
Rajesh,
Yes, sir.
so in rolling update, if V2 version will, once the V2 version pod gets up, then only V1 version pod will go down, right?
Yes, that's true. Actually, that is, yeah. What you in case of Kubernetes, what you are asking, whatever you're saying is right. Actually, suppose in case you are running application in the virtual machine, this virtual machine you will be making down actually. Or else what happened, you will be disconnecting this virtual machine from the existing cluster. Right? Once you disconnect it, then you upgrade to V2 and then you connect back to the cluster actually. But whereas in case of the Kubernetes which you are talking, yes, the V1 application will be there. You will try to create a new pod with a V2. Yes. And what happened, you will make sure that your service will start sending that request to the new pod, which is having V2. Once you confirm that, then what happened, you will try to make this down actually, automatically.
Yes, yes.
So this is also quite interesting rolling update, which we will discuss in a very in detail in Kubernetes class. Okay, so you might have come across with one of the term in Kubernetes, not sure, because don't think, don't say that Rajesh, why you are saying everything Kubernetes only. No, guys, I'm not saying particularly for Kubernetes. I'm just saying that some of the rolling update strategies, they might ask in interview, what are the rolling strategies you have followed in your real time? They might ask you. You have to say that I did a normal rolling update. Okay, one at a time I did it. Okay, they will ask you like. Can you roll back to the previous version if there's an issue from V2 to V1? Yeah, it's the same process, but again, it's a tedious task, right? Because you need to again make down that one, make degrade from V1 to V2 to V1 and then make the cluster. You can do a rollback also, but rollback is little challenging when it comes to the here in the case of rolling update. But Rajesh, rolling up, I want to make it efficiently. Rolling back also, it should be very smooth compared to the previous rolling update. Rollback should be very smooth, and I should make it very quicker. It should be very faster, and there should not be any downtime. Then in that case, what strategy you follow? You will say that, sir, there is one thing which we call as a blue-green deployment. This is the second one, blue-green deployment. So in the blue-green deployment, how they do is basically like they're having two environments, guys. Like this. Two environments means like they're having something like one they call it as a, what is it? Blue environment they call. Blue environment they call it. Right, like this. Okay, which is having a version V1 only, like this application. So where your application will be running here, some application will be running here, right? And here what happened, right? In case of Kubernetes only, I'm saying that here what happened, you have that service, SVC service, which acts like a load balancer only. Don't worry, it's like acts like a load balancer only. Right, now what happened, right? You will be, whenever the user asks for any requests, right? He's a user, you ask for the request. So what happened, that the request goes to your service, and through the service the request will go to, sorry, the service you, and it will go to your blue environment where your application is running, like this. So fine. Now you say that Rajesh, it is fine, Rajesh. I got it. Now you say that Rajesh, now I got the version 2 now. How we are going to do it? So guys, what we do basically, right? We will try to have one more environment. Okay, where we call it as a green environment. So under the green environment, what happened that you will try to have a V2 version. It means that here you have updated version of your application which is running. So now what happened, as soon as you verify, test all that application, suppose before you go and deploy, you would have verified, tested everything, and you think that, okay, the application is working fine, man, without any issue. Now what happened, you will have a green environment. Now what happened that you need to just tell to your SVC that, oh, instead of redirecting to here, the traffic to here, you please send the traffic to this environment, like this. So whenever the user is requesting, earlier what happened, the request was going to this way, like this. It was going to this way. From here, the request was going like this way. Now you cut down this line. You cut down means you just cut down this request. You cut down this line, so that now what happened, you are configured in SVC in such a way that now whatever the new requests which are coming from the new user, it will start flowing to this. So you just redirected the traffic flow, that's all, through the SVC. And how to do it, we'll see it later. How to do it, everything. It's quite interesting, but I'm just saying it. Okay. So now you say that, okay, Rajesh, applications are working fine for me. All the requests are going to this side, into the green environment, right? So this is all fine. Now tomorrow, suddenly, if the V2 is not functioning properly, there is some issue happened. Now you'll say that, Rajesh, please roll back to the V1, man, immediately. So now what happened? I'll stop the traffic going here. I'll just enable here. So that now any request is coming further, it will go and it will try to go to the V1 now. So tomorrow you say that, Rajesh, this is V2 there. Suppose the developer is coming with a V3. No problem. Go and deploy the V3 here in the blue environment and try to just change the traffic flow. That's all. So in this way, what happened? This is the blue-green deployment which we follow in the organization. And this one is a very common question, guys, which they ask in Kubernetes. So have you did a blue-green deployment? What is a blue-green deployment is all about? Like that, they will say it. So guys, I think I will not be able to further cover because there is something known as a canary deployment is there, which I want to discuss. Okay. And under the canary deployment, Yeah, I have to discuss. There are few things are there which I'll be discussing. One more is there, which recreate deployment. Recreate is one thing which is not much used, but still I will cover in the recreate deployment. In the recreate, we will have a downtime actually. Okay, and there is something the A/B testing is there. Let me note down here only so that we are aware of what we are going to cover in next session. Okay, so next session we'll be covering canary deployment, and we need to what are the things guys which I said? Anyone remember after canary? Yeah, recreate. Yeah, recreate deployment. That actually nobody uses, but I'm just still mentioning it. Okay, and something the A/B testing is there, and what are the things, man? Shadow. Yeah, shadow. So these are things which I'll be covering, guys. This is something introductory. Then I will explain about. I will have to explain about the workflow once, so that we are aware of what is a workflow. Once that is done, guys. Once this is done, then we will try to create a AWS account, new account. So guys, in our room, Rajiv is there. He's my close friend now who's working at Japan. He will share me. Yeah, he will share me some of his credentials. Like he has given me his email ID, and on fly he will share me the credit card details. So for AWS account who are in India, for India guys, please use debit card. Any debit card. Like any debit card means either you can use Visa or Mastro or MasterCard, or even the Rupee card also supports actually, Rupee card, anything. Outside India, like people like us who are outside India, like anywhere India, we have to use credit card because debit card might not work. Credit card is the best one for us to do it actually, right? 2 rupees will be deducted for creating a card, to creating account. 2 rupees will be deducted, right? And then like that same money will be refunded later after 48 hours, 2 days, the money will get refunded actually. So once you get it, guys, you will get a free account for 6 months usage. Earlier it was 1 year, now they have reduced to 6 months. So whatever the DevOps and cloud you have to practice, right? You can practice in 6 months, guys. Aram se practice. Suppose if you're not able to practice the AWS one, assume that. Still, what happened in 6 months, you can practice the complete DevOps. Now what happened, right? You please create a new account. Please create one more new account with one more new card on with one more email ID. You'll be able to create one more new account. In that new account, practice completely AWS in that. 6 months, aram you can practice. So in a year, you can have 2 accounts and you can do all practice. Hardly, I will tell you that you might get just rupees of 1,000 rupees bill you will get. That's all. Maximum in a year. Not more than that. Means that the whole DevOps and cloud, right? You can learn everything freely, guys, without paying anything. So tomorrow we are going to create an AWS account. All of us in our class, guys, whoever are attending, right? You have to have an account with you. Without that, you will not be able to do anything. We have to have an account. You need to practice, daily practice, you have to do it. And you have to even come and tell me, Rajesh, I have did this practice. Okay, I've stuck here. Whatever problem you're facing, even while account creating or something you're facing, you have to connect with me, you have to ask me. If you're working on certain things, you're not able to understand, for everything, guys, you have to connect and ask me. And initially, I know you will all, I mean, if you're hardly working, you will disturb me a lot. I know that. And I want that people should ask me questions. They should say, Rajesh, this is where I've stuck it. So that's a request, guys, from my end, that you please have to create an account at any cost. I will tell you later what are the other softwares which you have to require, and you have to install in a laptop and all. Like one is Git, other is Visual Studio Code, and few other softwares. I will tell you. You need to install all those softwares in your system because we will be using all these things in our day-to-day activity everywhere. So minimum software which is required, you need to have that. Okay, fine. One of the questions somebody's asked, blue, green, and Canary. Yeah, Krishna, you will cover Krishna. Blue, green, I have covered. Canary, I have to cover it tomorrow. Tomorrow, same timing, guys. The next class, 7 p.m. IST is the same timing. We will have a class tomorrow. Okay, if possible, I will extend to 2 hours tomorrow. Okay, because workflow is there, so many things are there, AWS. So there are certain. So, guys, some few classes you will see that I will be little bit stretching. Later, you will see that it becomes very smooth. I'll be taking 1.5 hour class only. I'll try to cover everything. Am I clear, sir? So guys, with that,
Yes.
I'm going to stop today's session. If you have any questions, you can please ask me.
So what about the classes on weekends, like
Yes,
up to
weekends.
Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, we'll try to have 2 sessions, guys, morning and evening. Sunday, we'll have 1 session. Evening, I don't want to really push so much that no, you attend the evening. At least you can give time to your family. I don't have my family here, guys, so I will be okay only. I mean, I will try to do my own work, updating myself only. But you guys, you might be having family and all. Please give good time for your family. I don't want to really take your evening, Sunday evening time. Suppose if all of you are agreeing, Rajesh, we are free, man, take at least 1 hour, means I'm ready to take 1 hour class. I'll be more happy if you say it, okay, Raj. Otherwise, we will have only morning classes on Sunday. Timings, I will tell you. We will discuss in our WhatsApp group. I will tell you that, okay, this is the time you have to come. So, guys, what I'll be doing now, max, hardly what I will do that. I will call you all in the morning, 9 o'clock. I will call you India timing on Saturday and Sunday, both. And Saturday evening, I will call you at the 6 p.m. IST evening. For me, it will be Rajiv 9:30, right? Yeah, 9:30. My time will be 9:30. So 9:30 to 11, I will be taking. For you, it will be 6 to 7:30. So the timing matches, right, for you, right? Guys, could you please confirm, everyone? Saturday morning, 9 a.m. IST, all India time I am saying, 9 to 10:30 or 11 a.m. IST. Okay. And both, sorry, Sunday morning class and evening class would be like 6 p.m. IST to 7:30 a.m. IST. 1.5 hour class, or else I will extend time also, certain more time also. Sunday, Sunday only one class, morning 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. or 11 a.m. IST, whatever. If you are having only one class on Sunday, then I would recommend that we can sit for 2 hours, 10 to 11 a.m. IST.
Sir, on Tuesday we are having national holiday in Japan, so that we can take on that day as well.
Not Tuesday,
Sorry, on Monday. On Monday.
Yeah. Monday I will take. Yeah. What you said is right. Monday also I will take it, sir. Monday for sure I'm taking classes. This coming Monday, right? When is the date? 13th, right, guys? Yeah.
Yeah, 13th.
Yeah. 13th for sure I'll be taking class. 13th I will take class. But Rajiv, 13th को इंडिया में छुट्टी नहीं रहेगा, so they will be having office. So वो सेम टाइम लेना पड़ेगा, 7 PM IST को लेना पड़ेगा मुझे.
कोई नहीं सर, उनके मतलब सबके अकॉर्डिंग एडजस्ट कर लेंगे हम, जो भी टाइमिंग सूट करे सबके लिए.
राइट, करेक्ट. तो हमारे लिए 10:30 से 12 बजे रहेगा, राइट? 10:30 to 12 विल बी देयर. बट वही ट्यूसडे को मुझे अर्ली मॉर्निंग निकलना, बिकॉज ट्यूसडे आई हैव टू जॉइन द ऑफिस, राइट?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's fine. For me, no, it's okay. So Monday I will take. So all these 4 days I will take, guys. Tuesday, Wednesday I will not take. Again, Thursday I will take. Same timing, 7 PM IST. So guys, I want to just ask you one small thing. Was it interesting for you or something, Rajesh, too much theoretical, boring? Rajesh, please reduce something. You please give me a positive feedback also, guys. I'll be more happy because I can tune myself into what suits you more or how is it everything. If you are not able to tell now itself, I'm not asking you now. Just you can even tell me after 2-3 sessions or something. But what is my understanding is that, guys, like practicals as well as theoretical both have to go hand in hand. I have to explain you theoretical also so that you understand comfortably the theoretical part. Practical part also I'll be showing the class because I'll be logging into the AWS account. I'll be creating virtual machines and I'll be logging and I'll be showing you many kind of lab exercises, everything, so that you will get to know both the things. So both should go hand in hand. Then I think you will be able to perfectly understand. Okay. So thank you, guys.
Rajesh, good question.
Yeah. Naresh, right? Yes, Naresh.
Yeah, Rajesh. So my question is like, how you are building are you taking like open source project, one of the project and building like so we have a monolithic
Right.
application, for example, right? So we'll be converting generally in industry will convert monolithic application to microservices.
Yeah.
So we have an
Both.
open source project.
Both, sir, both. See what happened, Naresh, what happened? No, any trainer who teaches you, he will take all the projects from open source only. He might take a complete big open source multiple project, or he might show open source microservice based project also. He will show you everything. So, but it will be open source. He cannot show any kind of a real time or industry based. They cannot show it actually. It's not possible. So no institute will show you, man. But they will say that everything or all are real-time projects. So same thing. So whatever we do with the open source, man, in the organization, same thing will happen. It's not that big difference. It's the same thing what we do. So don't worry about that part. What you need to concentrate more means, okay, tool-wise, Rajesh, I have understood how Terraform works, how Jenkins work, how AWS work, how Git works, how all these things work. You will understand everything in detail. You understand. Project is something where you are learning this integration part, integrating all this tool to make sure that the complete pipeline works, complete CI/CD pipeline works. So once you are aware of the certain tools, like 4 to 5 tools in DevOps, understand the whole project flow, understand the whole CI/CD backbone, understand how to troubleshoot the issues when you found any issues, right? Then what happened? Then I would say that, okay, now you have understood the whole DevOps process. You have understood, because many of the people in the organization, they'll be individually working in the specific tool only. Say for example, I'll be working on only on Ansible, or I'll be only working on Jenkins because I need to build a pipeline, or I'll be working on a GitHub Actions pipeline, right? In the organization, what happened, right? They will divide the whole project into different multiple works, into different team members actually. So one person will get that, okay, he will be only working on Terraform, so that majority of his project will be more on writing a Terraform files, where he will be writing a code for creating the deployment, creating the infrastructure, managing all this infrastructure. One person will be writing a Azure DevOps pipeline. One person will be writing something where he will be managing the complete Git. So it will be divided, man.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
But what happened in the real time? What happened, right? Oh, you need to, when all the people, when they're doing their work, when it comes to the whole project flow, workflow, right? Then what happened, right? All these tools are integrated with each other. Jenkins is integrated to the Git. Jenkins is integrated with the Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible. All these tools are integrated so that when you're writing a pipeline, the pipeline should have to be successfully get executed without any error, actually.
Yeah, real-time pipelines, right? So we
Yes,
have like
yes,
that.
yes, real time.
And,
What
and
I will do,
also,
yeah, go ahead.
are you building like the whole thing from Terraform itself, or the
With
complete like
Sir,
from
you can
scratch?
build through pipeline from scratch only. We'll write it. All the code will write from scratch only. But what I will do that, okay, I'll show that this is the code. Now what happened? I have to go and build this code. So for that, what happened, right? I'll be first creating a Terraform files, creating the models, writing a Terraform models, everything. How to create a virtual machine, how to create a storage. For my requirement, I will write all the Terraform file, and then I will run and show it. Okay. Now what happened, right? It has created this infrastructure. Now somebody will ask you, Rajesh, can I do everything through the GitHub Actions? It means that through a GitHub Actions, you are calling your Terraform code to to create infrastructure. Yes. Now what happened? Next challenge, that integrating the GitHub Actions with your Terraform actually. So when you integrate it, right, then what happened, right? You will write a Terraform code, plus you need to write a pipeline also. And when you run that pipeline is going to call your Terraform file, and that Terraform file will get executed at the backend, and it is going to create infrastructure. So in the real time, what happened? Whenever you are integrating completely with the pipeline tool only. Either you will be integrating through Jenkins, to the GitHub Actions, to the GitLab, to the GitHub pipeline flow, or to the Azure DevOps pipeline flow, or to the Harness pipeline, or to TeamCity pipeline. There are multiple CI/CD pipeline tools are there, where you can do all this integration and do everything operation using that pipeline only.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Akshay, any question, Akshay? Ganesh, Girish, राजीव भाई, कोई क्वेश्चन? पंकज?
Sir, actually, last part was very interesting when you showed with the diagram. So I know that for every scenario, it's not possible. But if you try to explain with the diagram, it's very easy to understand.
इट्स वेरी, ये अब समझ में आ जाएगा. ये अभी लोड बैलेंसर, ये जनरली लोड बैलेंसर आता है, लेकिन एक्चुअल में कुबरनेटिस में एसवीसी आता है, सर्विस बोलते हैं इसको.
ओके.
ये बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग है भाई. जब हम करेंगे, हम जब, सॉरी गाइस, आई अंडरस्टैंड दैट यू नो हिंदी, बट आई एम सेइंग, बट आप जब व्हेन यू डू इट प्रैक्टिकली, जब आप प्रैक्टिकली करोगे, यू विल गेट टू नो एवरीथिंग गाइस, वन बाय वन. एंड सेम थिंग यू हैव टू प्रैक्टिस योरसेल्फ. Once Rajesh has did it, let me watch 2 3 times. He has given the code. I know how to use that code. Same thing you have to do. You have to just do a copycat. Later, after what happened, you need to do some normal small changes by your own. Verify, check how it works actually. Then what happened? You will get stuck. Then you will start asking me. Whenever you do anything differently, guys, then only you'll get stuck. And that is a actual learning curve. You need to do something differently so that, okay, Rajesh did the pet clinics. Why don't you do a game of life? So I will take a game of life code and I will build it. I will use the NOA e-commerce code actually, and I will do it actually. You can take any of the open source and you can build it. So that is a real challenge when you take some other code and try to build it, whatever the hurdles you will get right while doing build, deployment, and everything, right? I mean, not saying manually, I'm saying through automated way, through using the DevOps tools. Then that is a real challenge, guys. Then you will face the issue, then you will try resolving it. Once you become a master in resolving or troubleshooting, guys, that day you think that you are good at DevOps actually. Then you can crack any interview. Only is that now the time has come where you have to learn certain advanced topic in each and every tool. That advanced topic I'm going to cover. Once you have gone through that stage where you have learned advanced topic, now you are ready to give interview, man. That day you wait for that day, it'll take 5-6 months of time. You see that day when it comes, you have learned many things, and you have to even learn the art of giving, how to give an interview, how to answer questions in a very crispy way, how you need to give a very solid answer for many of the questions, how you can tackle any kind of a scenario based questions or your real-time questions. Certain things they will be very much interested to know from you. So when you answer such questions, definitely they feel like, okay, this fellow is very good guy. He can able to work on in our company. He'll be able to manage the work if you give him some task. So then only what happens, they will offer you. So when the interviewer get a confidence in you guys that, okay, he can manage the work. Okay, when we take him, he'll be able to do the work. Then only they will select you guys. So for that, you need to do a lot of hard work actually. And of course, automation is there. Python, they'll ask you and all. Yeah, that is there and all is there. But I'm just saying that if we have started learning our journey in DevOps, but at least in DevOps tools, जो भी हम सीख रहे हैं, you should be good at that. Okay. बाद में automation देखा जाएगा. ठीक है सर, Python use करके मुझे कैसे automate करना है सब कुछ, we'll do it that also. Though as I said earlier, right, in our syllabus we don't have that Python, but still I will take some sessions to cover up Python so that थोड़ा basics of Python you will learn. थोड़ा आ जाएगा आपको, और उससे कैसे हम ऑटोमेट कर सकते हैं वो भी, इट्स लाइक आर्ट एक्चुअली. वी हैव टू लर्न इट थ्रू कोडिंग ओनली. यू हैव टू लर्न दैट. So guys,
all these topics will you cover by December, like next 3 months, by December ending?
Yeah, man, we have to cover it. Naresh, that's a good question. We have to cover it, but I will be very honest and very frank with you. I think I'll not be able to complete it. We will be covering up to January for sure.
January, okay.
Yeah, January, at least by max by 20th January, I thought to cover, because see, Terraform when I take, no, Terraform itself will take around 1 month session, man. Okay, GitHub Actions at least 15-day session, Git some 10 sessions, right? That, and since Ansible and all, I'm not taking, I'll give all the recordings so that I will. Docker is something I need around 20 to 25 sessions to complete it. Kubernetes is something which I'll take more time, man. I need a minimum some 30, 40, 30, 35 sessions to complete Kubernetes. So 1 month only, 1 month is only Kubernetes, Naresh.
Okay, why I'm stressing is like we have a good enough time in December. December we have a low volumes, so
Yeah,
that
yeah. Yeah, I will cover. That's what I'm see. Even in Japan here, what happened, right? We have a lot of holidays on the weekend, last week of the December. So I'm not sure. I might come back to India. I might travel back, or if I'm not traveling back to India, definitely I'll be here only. I'll be taking a lot of sessions, morning, evening. I'll take and I'll try to cover. So that's what, whenever we are having holiday, as Raju also said, this Monday we're having holiday. So I'll try to cover that day also, right? So whenever it's possible, I will in a WhatsApp call. Those who have enrolled, right? You know that we have WhatsApp group now. I will inform you there only, then and there, one day before, so that we are aware of the classes and we can attend the class.
Okay. Is this a standard time? Like this is the time that you are taking daily, or not?
Yeah.
What is
See,
the
I think I've already told a couple of times, but still I'll reiterate it. See, what we discussed that, like in the classes will be from Thursday to Sunday. That's what we had earlier discussed. I'm not sure you are aware of or not. Thursday to Sunday.
Mhm.
Okay, Thursday to Sunday. Thursday and Friday, I'll be taking 7 p.m. IST. Thursday and Friday. 7 p.m. IST. I will take 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. IST for you. I know it's a odd time, but still I have requested to all of you. Saturday something I'm very much flexible for you guys, because I'll be taking the same timing as you mentioned here. 9 a.m. to 10:30 and 6 evening 6 to. I know, guys. See what happened now when you are learning something, new things, right? Please give your at least minimum 6 to 8 months of your time to learning only. Okay, if you say, sir, I can't give this much time, sir, so it is not possible to gain. So if you want to achieve certain things, means you need to give your time. Saturday, Sunday, you have to give a complete devotion time. You have to give to learn things. If you're giving it, if you're giving it, give in a very positive way and learn in a positive way, so that guys you can able to complete this whole course in next 6 months. So once you are given a next 6 months, 6 months after 6 months means it will be like February or March. Definitely from April onwards, you will get a very good job, because from April onwards, a lot of job openings will start everywhere. Right. So I would request that you please give your 6 months of time to me. I will see that how I can shape you very well. And of course, like when you call me, see, suppose Naresh, you call me, Naresh, can you on Monday to Wednesday, I'm not taking classes. But assume that, but see, you know what? I'll not keep quiet, man. What I will do, no, Monday to Wednesday, I'll be keep updating myself. After I come back from office, I'll sit room and I'll be studying. I know that Thursday is going to come and this whole weekend is going to come. I have to take classes, I have to deliver it. So I will be prepared in a different way actually, because this batch too, I have thought to deliver in a very different way. Right, that's what I'm doing it. So I have to prepare myself also. So Monday to Wednesday, why I'm taking the class, I have to adjust with the work culture here. I will see how the work here in Japan, in my company, all about that. I will get time. Plus, I will get some time for me to study myself, update in different way. Thursday onwards, we will deliver the classes. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'll see that all. See, I will tell you one thing, guys, one more thing very well. If you are covering these 5 sessions in a week, that is more fruitful, I'm saying. You please try to cover all these 5 videos in the next upcoming, in Monday to Wednesday. You guys spend your time in learning all these 5 videos. That will be more sufficient. I'm telling you that I'm telling you that will be more sufficient. 5 videos कर लो, आप पढ़ लो, practice कर लो. That is more. I will be more happy. If you say, sir, मैंने 500 video, I have covered all the 5 videos, sir. I'm very happy. I know everything. Means I'll be more happy than you. So every week is a challenge for you now. Every week, every day is a challenge for you guys. Give some time for learning every day, half an hour, 1 hour. Definitely, I'm just telling you now what the initial, give me half an hour, 1 hour. Later, what happened, right? Once you started getting into more into learning thing, right? After 1 month, right, you have to give 2 hours, 2.5 hours every day. To minimum 2 hours, a working profession have to give every day. Every day, Monday to Sunday, every day, 2 hours you have to give. Some day take a break. Some of the day take the break if you're not really interested to learn. But the next day you have to again come back, and then again you have to start learning from where you left. That rhythm should be there. I will keep using this word rhythm. So that learning curve should be there, guys. But every day you have to practice it actually. Every day, Monday to Sunday. Next to 6 months. Initially give half an hour, 1 hour. Later you have to increase your time also, right? Weekends give more time to yourself for learning. Sunday, half of the Sunday you give to your family or whatever you want to do personal work. But make sure that you make your timetable. Okay, Raj, I'll study this much time. So today I had a call with one of the girl. I'm not taking her name actually. I asked her what is the time you update. She's a married woman and she's working. She said, sir, I wake up at morning 4 o'clock and up to 6:30 I study. She said. See, even though she's a married woman, even though she's a working professional, still she's giving her time on every day morning 4 o'clock, because you know that 4 o'clock morning her baby will be sleeping and nobody would be there. Nobody is there to disturb her. So she has chosen that time to study. So it's all depend upon us, man, how we manage the time, everything. Right, everyone? Fine, guys. I think it was okay today. Yeah, sure. Thank you, man. Thank you, Vedant and Krishna. Yeah. Yeah, troubleshoot. Krishna, DevOps is nothing but the anonymous word for DevOps is troubleshooting only. There is no. So anyone can ask you who's a DevOps user? Sir, do you troubleshoot the things? Yes, sir. We are there to troubleshoot the things. That's all. DevOps has been paid in the organization for troubleshooting. Now I have joined into the. I'll not be telling about my company where I'm working around, but slowly I will reveal you. You know, my job there is what is my job now? Only troubleshooting my. No, any issue comes, I have to troubleshoot it. That's all. That is my main job initially.
I need to learn the troubleshooting parts, Rajesh. Why? Because
That's
I know
all.
the basics actually.
Yeah. See, troubleshooting something where what happened? No, when I am doing something, I got stuck. How to come over from that? issue. That is troubleshooting, man. Or else existing,
Yes.
you have an existing environment, it's smoothly working. Your application is smoothly working. Suddenly the application goes down. Now, how do you start troubleshooting? From which point you will start troubleshooting? And what are the different ways you troubleshoot and how do you fix it actually? Again, you need to pause, you have to follow some process, and in that process you need to do a lot of checks and all you need to do. Once you are doing all the checks, okay, still I didn't get where the issue is there, then you need to do second level of troubleshooting. You have to do one level. Even everything done, it is not there on, then you talk to your seniors, they will tell you, okay man, go and do it. They might give some hinters and pointers to you. So you need to follow some process unless until you become an expert fellow. Once you become an expert fellow in doing all things, then you will not ask anybody, man, you will do it yourself. Till that day, you need to be
Yes.
doing yourself. For some time, you need to ask some help from your seniors. Once you are overcome from that, then you can do by your own. I will do myself a lot of troubleshooting, man. If I everything I do till up to the neck, no, I will do it. Once I'm out, once I start agitating, no man, I'm not getting any solution. Then only I'll ask my seniors. Otherwise, I will never go back to them. Why? Because no, in that process, I will learn so many things about, like I would have even understood many other things which earlier I didn't know it. When I'm troubleshooting, then okay, I got frustrated, man. I just troubleshooting from last 5 6 hours. I'm doing it. I'm not getting any solution. Then when I go and ask my seniors, no, he will say, Rajesh, have you tested it? Yeah, I also did that also, but I couldn't find. Okay, did in that way? He will say, no, I didn't do that. Then do it and check it. So he is giving some hints to me because he's an experienced person. So in that way, I will learn something new. But what happened? My troubleshooting my experience become very easy for me. I will become a best troubleshooter. So that's what happened when you are learning DevOps. It means that you are learning troubleshoot from very basic to the very high level. You have to do it. So it's all learning only, sir. When I start doing, you will see in the class, I will also do a lot of mistakes. Then I will then and there only I will troubleshoot and I'll show you. Or else some issue upfront I would have come across, but in the class I'll show you. See, purposely I'll show you so that things should get fail and you should troubleshoot it. Or I will should tell you, oh, this is how to troubleshoot, these are the steps you have to follow it. Even in any of the certification, like even in Kubernetes certification, even in Terraform certification, in Azure, some advanced certification, in AWS, there are all into question answers in the examination are all troubleshooting only. Even in RSA, Linux certification also troubleshooting only. Everywhere it's troubleshooting only. Okay, man.
So in
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
recently, mostly they are asking the troubleshooting part in Kubernetes also
Of course, obviously, man. See that
in the
see,
interviews.
yeah, 100%. So I'm not telling all these things at the very beginning, Krishna, because I mean, some people might know it, some people might not. They say think that why Rajesh is saying so many things. I mean, I will tell the appropriate time. But yes, of course, what you said is
Yeah.
right. Troubleshooting in Kubernetes has become a major thing. Why? Because that most of the organizations they shifted to troubleshooting only. In my new company in Japan, no, my most troubleshooting is in Kubernetes cluster only, either Kubernetes cluster or in OpenShift.
Okay.
So now what happened? No,
So
whatever the
what is the
challenge.
major difference between Kubernetes and OpenShift? Nowadays, I am hearing
Kubernetes
OpenShift in a lot of
Kubernetes is an open source, man. I mean, you can use it, right? But OpenShift is a proprietary from the Red Hat, actually, right? So
yeah. Oh, yes.
both are orchestration tool. But what I see that some companies have started using OpenShift in a very, they have started using in the project from the very beginning. But over the period of time, I mean, some people have told me I have not seen that, but they have shifted from OpenShift to Kubernetes. Because what kind of features
Okay.
they want, right? That they're not able to get it, but it's available in the community. Then why we are using a proprietary tool when we have everything in the open source only? So most of the companies are shifting from the open shift to the Kubernetes. But what happened? Open source, OpenShift, right? It is a Red Hat product actually. So Red Hat will give a very good support.
Yes.
Yeah, it has a very good support. You'll get a lot of support from them. But still, many companies have seen that they have migrated, man, from OpenShift to the Kubernetes. One is for saving the
Yeah.
cost, and some other people have told me that little bit complex. The way OpenShift works, right? It looks like complex. In the below, everything is same only, man. Whatever, because in turn they are using Kubernetes resource only they are using for doing everything. But what happened? They have added one more layer actually. That's a library layer. OpenShift Red Hat people have added it. When you're working on that, no, that becomes little complex. They say, but at the end of the day, you can manage everything, man. Whatever you're doing in Kubernetes, same thing you can manage everything in OpenShift also.
Okay.
Yeah. So guys, I hope that you got it. I think it's too much, man. Like, I mean, too much time has gone. So let me stop the recording. Okay. and then you can ask me any questions if you have it. Let me stop the recording.